I know how to do certain things and X, Y, and Z, and I'm just rambling. Okay, let's stick to the subject. So let's get into it. This is the closure that we'll be working with. It's called My Shiny Wigs. I get it off of Amazon and I love it. It says it's 100% Remy, but I don't know and I don't care. It works for me. Now, this is the inside of the package, and this is how the closure looks. It's 18-inch and it's a 5x5. I wanted to show you guys how it looks in the package. Now, this is outside of the package and it blends so well into my skin. I didn't have to bleach this, nor did I want to, and it comes pre-plucked as well. The 20, oh wait, this is the 18. This is the 20. This is the 22. This is the closure, and I got a 5x5, and I got it off of Amazon. Let's get to work. Let's get to work. Now I'm going to wash my bundles. This is the shampoo and this is the conditioner that I use by Tresemme. I love it down. It eats every time. So what I decided to do was just run some water, rinse out the bundles because this is bundles from my vendor from China. And this is my first time actually ordering hair from a vendor. And I'm just going to keep doing it because I'm going to be honest with y'all. Sometimes on website prices, they just be way too high. But I get it. Everybody got to make their money. But I went through each bundle. Remember, there were 3 bundles. And I combed through them with my fingers. And I did find some hair that came out, but it wasn't that bad too. Now these are the pins that you're going to use to sew. One is going to be for needle and thread. This is the one. This one it has different sizes of needles that you can use depending on how you like to sew. I like to use the smaller one, sometimes the bigger one, depending on what mood I'm in. And then these over here, these are the ones that you're going to use to hold down your wig so you can move it and style it as you please. When it comes to layering your hair, I use this razor because I'm not a pro. These shears are going to be used to cut your lace. This is the wig cap that I use. I used extra large. And this is the inside of the wig cap. Use the mesh one. These are the glues that you're going to use to do your tracks as well. This is the band that you're going to sew from the left to the right of your head to secure the wig in place, since this will be a glueless wig. And this is the plastic cap you're going to have. So first you're going to put a plastic cap on your head, and this plastic cap is going to protect your real hair and your scalp from any glue that you put on to make the quick wig, okay? After you put your scalp on, your thing, you're going to make sure, you're going to look at it, right? And when you're looking at it, what you're going to do is make sure that the triangle part is in the front of your head and that the square part right here is in the back of your head. So you're going to put it on right. So it'll look a little bit like this. It's gonna look a little bit crazy, but that's okay because we about to beautify ourselves. Now I'm figuring out the placement of the closure and what will make it versatile enough for me to be able to switch it to the middle or switch it towards the side of my head. And you're going to make sure that that lace is at least 1 inch away from the actual cap. So when you cut the lace, it'll look natural. Now I place the cap on the dome head, and I have the 2 needles in the back that I told you guys about earlier. Make sure it's stretched completely out, and I did it as well in the front. It doesn't have to look perfect, but make sure it is stretched all the way out because this is going to help the foundation of your quick wig. Now that I've remembered my placements on my head and how it looked, I pinned the lace, make sure it's 1 inch away from the dome cap, and I put the needle on one side to completely stretch it out, and I did it on the other side. I found it helpful to turn my wig to the side so I can see how it looks instead of having it sit straight up. And remember to make sure your closure is as flat as possible from front to back. Do as many pins as you need to do in your closure to make sure it's a straight line back, because if you don't, when you're sewing or even if you're gluing, your closure is not going to be flat on your head and your wig is going to look like a wig. That's not the point of making a quick wig. The point of making a quick wig is to make sure it don't look like a wig. But if you see in the back, I am positioning the closure to make sure that it's as straight as possible. So when you place your closure, make sure it's as flat as this look. You see how there are no bubbles? There's no type of air. And it's 1 inch away from the cap. This is how it should look in phase 1 of creating your quick wig. I decided to turn it to the back too. You guys just just be patient with me here. This hair was getting on my nerves. If you look in the back, you can see that big gap. That happened literally in the midst of me doing this. So when you're making a quick wig, make sure you take your time. There is no rush on making a quick wig. I mean, it's called a quick wig, but that's only because we're gluing down the tracks. But in this case, take your time. You want your masterpiece to look just as good as a stylist would have it look. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just playing around with plucking. I said I wasn't going to pluck it earlier, but I just wanted to see if it made a difference. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, it didn't make a difference. I typically don't pluck like I said, but I did just a little bit. My tip for y'all is if you've never plucked, get a pre-pluck closure. It'll save you baldness. So I owe y'all like another video because I completely forgot to show me sewing on the closure. I was just in the zone at this time, but this is me braiding it down and pinning up the hair, because when you get in the process of gluing those tracks, you can get in a trance and just keep gluing it, and your hair of your closure will get caught in your tracks. And when you let all the hair down, it's just going to be a total mess, and you're going to wish you would have pinned it up. So when you're done sewing down your closure, make sure you braid down both sides of the hair to keep it out of the way of you gluing down your tracks. So now I took each track and I measured it from one side of my ear to the other side of my ear. Sometimes I pull out this spritz here and I spray it from one side of the track only to the other end of the track to secure it if I feel like the glue isn't holding it. This is definitely optional, so don't feel like that you have to do this, but it will secure your tracks a lot more. And as I go through each track, you repeat the steps over and over again. Follow your fingers when you're putting it from one side of the head to the other side of the head. Now, once you get to the top, you're going to see there's still a gap left. Make sure you cover your base cap all the way to the closure. If you need to turn your head around to see how close the closure is in the back, do so. But I've been doing this for a very long time, so I automatically know when it's definitely too close to the back of the closure. But like I said, keep going, keep adding tracks all the way to the top of the closure to where the closure and the track will meet, and don't stop. Don't leave any gaps. The more hair you can put on your wig, the better. Now it is finally complete, and I wanted to show you guys the length because it was pretty long. The longest length that I have, I think, is a 22. And you see how in the back it was completely covered. No gaps. We don't do no gaps. So now I'm taking it out to comb out the hair to see how it looks all together. So when you get to your final step, you'll see if you like it enough, if you feel like you need to add more tracks, whatever works best for you. You know my motto, do it. Now I'm going to go on the closure with a hot comb, and this is a hot comb that I got from the hair store. I didn't get nothing too expensive. It's like a $20 hot comb, and it works best, baby. But I go through the closure and I slowly press down to make sure it is flat as possible. Do this as many times as you deem necessary in order to get the flattened look on the wig. So I'm just playing with it, and I kind of want you guys to see how flat it looks with me holding it down. That's the look that you want to achieve. If that look doesn't look like that, then yeah. Turned around also so you guys can kind of see the length. I love this hair. I'm definitely going to keep buying from my vendor. Hey, we love it. We like it. We did it. So here I'm flipping the wig inside out so you guys can see how it should look. It'll look like this because you glued the tracks on. Remember, you didn't sew the tracks on. You only sewed the closure. So now what I'm going to do is create a gap where the closure and the cap is. And I'm going to grab my scissors. Be very careful. Make sure your fingers are between the cap and the closure, because if not, while you're trying to cut the fabric out, you will cut the closure. I made that mistake and I will never do so. So take your time cutting the cap from the closure. Do not cut close to the stitches or close to the glue where you glue your track. Try to stay as far as possible in order for you to achieve the flattened look. So this is how it will look. You see how I didn't cut all the fabric that's close to the stitch? Try not to get too close, okay? So this is how it should look under the wig. You can completely see the 5x5, and like I said, leave some fabric close to that stitch. So I put the wig back on, and this is how it looks on my head. Like, I didn't even need to do anything to this closure, y'all. Y'all have got to run to Amazon and get this closure. I will put the link in my bio for y'all to use. But this is the wig completely with no makeup, no anything, just freshly done. Now I'm going to grab a bottle of Got To Be glue spray, and I spray it on my partings as close as I can, but not in the middle. And I'm going to grab the hot comb and I'm going to press down. Be careful, don't burn yourself like I did. Do not burn yourself. Also, don't press too hard because you can burn through your closure if you press too hard or if the settings is too high. I typically go to at least 400, not 450. And that's the highest that this hot comb can go. If you compare in the previous video when I first started hot combing it versus when I hot combed it now with the Got To Be glue spray, it's a lot flatter. There's a difference, you can completely tell. But like I said, if you want to use Got To Be glue spray, you can or cannot. Do what works best for you. Now you're going to get the shear scissors and you're going to cut. Don't worry about making the wrong cut because the shape of the scissors is going to guide you. Just make sure you cut to your liking of how much lace you want. I like to leave lace in the front so I can melt it in my scalp to look like it's coming out of my scalp. Some people like to cut really close to the hairline. It's whatever your preference is. But this is how it looks with me cutting it with the scissors. And yeah, I love it. I'm so excited. So now this is what it looks with it being cut. Doesn't it look completely melted without me having to do anything to it? Like, look at it. Look, you can't deny it. Once again, I am back with pressing it out. Now I take my wax stick. This is the Care baby. I swear by it. I put that in the middle as well to lay it down. So Got To Be glue spray and Care wax stick. The wax stick is going to get those little tiny flyaways that you have at the top of your closure. So this is the completed wig on my wig head. As you see, that's the lace that's going to blend into it. And yeah, y'all, this is her without any curls. She's raw, unfiltered, no filter. This is the inside of your wig. This is how it'll look. And this is the band. Now, the band that I have had hooks to hook, but I didn't have anything to hook it to. So I just cut each end. I cut each end based off of how tight I wanted the band to fit on my head. So this is the band, and that's how stretchy it is. So remember, when you are placing your band, I need you to have the adjustable part on the outside and the part that's not adjustable on the inside. You see how I flipped it? I've made many mistakes where I had the outside part on the inside. Yeah, and you don't want to do that because you don't want to have to sew it all over again. So now what I'm doing is I'm placing it on the edge of the cap, as you guys can see here. And I'm going to take some needles that I showed you earlier. This is where the needles are going to come in handy. We're going to pin each side of the band to secure it in place. So when we're sewing it, there's no movement. And now it's time to get that needle and thread and start sewing your side. Once I was done sewing, I took my pins out and I'm going to pull it to see if it's as sturdy as it needs to be. Now you're going to go over to the other side and repeat the same process. So this is the finished product with the wig band attached. And I wanted to pull it to the side too so you guys can see how it looks. This brand is called Perfect Line Swiss. On the inside of it, it's kind of like a waxy feel. I can't even explain what the feel is, y'all. But this is what I put on my lace in between the middle to make it look scalp-like. I love this stuff. But what I'm doing now is I'm heating it up. You have to heat it up in order to use it. I'll put the link in my bio. So what I do is I go on turn the wig inside out and I go on the lace. And now that it's melted, I just drag it on there over and over again to the likings of what I will like. So this is part one of the process. When you flip it over, it's going to look a little bit like this. But I always like to put my finger to see where the color changes. And if I need to turn it inside it out and start the process over again, I do so. And in this case, I needed to. Now, it does come with an oil that you're supposed to use when you're done applying the makeup on the lace. So you're going to grab that and you're going to put it exactly on the makeup, and it gives it that oily scalp look. Now, once you're done doing that, you're going to grab your cone and you're going to move side to side, up and down very gently to melt it into your closure. And it's going to give it, see, it's starting to give like that clay-like scalp look. I don't really believe in clean parts, and here's why. When you actually part your real hair, it's not a clean part, right? So when I use this Swiss lace, I still have some hair coming out the middle, and it just looks so natural. Like it looks just like my scalp. And I'm gonna get close so y'all can see it. See, it looks like scalp. It's giving. Now we're moving on to doing curls. I have not perfected doing this type of curl where you wrap it up and then you clip it. I haven't perfected that, y'all, but I did the best I could. I'm gonna be honest, it came out great towards the end, but practice makes perfect. With you making this wig or even trying to do these type of curls, y'all, the more you do something, the better you're gonna be at it. I was so happy I got the first one down. I want to show like this curl. I hate when it's stringy like that, but I do want to show like this little curl right here. This is our quick wig. This is glued. The closure is glued. Everything is pretty much glued. And this is for the girls that basically may not have time to sit there and sew, because I got a sewing machine and I have not actually used it yet, but I'm gonna see later on in this chapter. But for right now, we're gonna stick to the quick wigs. And yeah, this is she's a side part. She's a side part. I could just switch it. I don't know why I can't. It just sat right here, but she's a side part wig. But yeah, this is her. So welcome, you've made it towards the end of the video and you now have a glueless wig that you can put on your head, and we like to call it a quick wig. Yeah, because it was quick, and it's kind of like a quick weave, but it's on a wig that you can take on and take off. Yeah, we're gonna save them coins this year. This is option one of the wig. I wanted to make the wig where I could do it on the side or I can flip it in the middle, because depending on how I'm feeling that day, that's how the wig's gonna look. So I'll move over to the side so I can let Miss Side Part come in. This is the side part, you know, it's in the eye a little bit, you know, she's giving a Leah, you know. Which one do you want to wear? See you later, girl.